we haven't got any other vaccines against parasites in humans. So this was a great advance to develop a vaccine against a parasitic infection of humans, particularly one so important as malaria. The vaccines are okay. They're not brilliant, like many of the vaccines that we give to children, which are very, very effective. You might only need one to protect you for life. They're not useless either. They provide reasonable levels of protection, unfortunately not for a very long time. So the problem with the vaccines is how do we deliver them to the people that need them? The people that need them largely are children in Africa, although we can use them also to accelerate elimination, but that's more experimental at the present time. So how important are they? Probably moderately important, but they're certainly not game changers as vaccines have been for other diseases. Take COVID, for example. There we have vaccines that have completely transformed the outlook of the disease. That's not the case for malaria vaccines. Parasites, by definition, are organisms that have spent their entire evolutionary history trying to avoid our immune system. So perhaps we were a little hubristic to think we could develop a vaccine easily. It's a great triumph that we've got one at all, or two. They're very similar, by the way. So the problem is that the parasites are very clever and they can avoid vaccines. Chloroquine was our best anti-malarial drug, and it was wonderfully beneficial for decades in the last century, and then we lost it, and millions of children, literally, not an exaggeration, died as a consequence. Now we have very, very good drugs called the artemisinin combination treatments, or ACTs. They're really good, but we now have got resistance to artemisinin. It first noticed in Southeast Asia, but it's now unfortunately expanding in East Africa, and there's a major concern about that. We don't have a whole list of new potential medicines to become available. The malaria pipeline is very slow. We've got a few new drugs that are going through it, but they won't be in our hands within the next few years, and we don't know how much they will cost. So, of course, scientists like myself will always argue that our research is going to deliver a slam dunk solution, but I don't think that's the truth. The truth is that we should concentrate more on the unglamorous research required to make the best of what we already have. But who is going to support such research? The challenge here, I think, is enormous. If the idea is to try and produce a modified parasite that will protect us and not harm us, I think that is a very, very difficult challenge. And it will probably stay as a pipe dream of researchers for many years to come. I don't think we're going to be very successful. these so-called monoclonal antibodies can be engineered to provide long periods of protection, longer than your own innate antibodies do. And I think that's a very promising approach, but there are some substantial obstacles too, most notably the cold chain. They have to be cold. If we could keep them at tropical type temperatures for many months, that would be potentially, yes, a game changer. But I do think that this is a promising area for research. It may be that instead of children taking a monthly set of tablets, they could just get one injection. And a very important potential use is after they've been very ill and gone to hospital, they could receive one injection as a discharge from hospital, because we know that many African children die in the months after they've been discharged from hospital.